Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to explore a highly counterintuitive premise about how to actually achieve your goals. We spend so much of our time trying to figure out the absolute perfect formula for getting ahead. But what if, to build a really remarkable life, you're actually asking yourself the exact wrong questions? Let me ask you something directly. Think about your current path in life right now. How could you absolutely ruin it? Seriously, what steps could you take, starting literally today, to absolutely guarantee that you make terrible, catastrophic decisions? Well, if you really wanted to ensure your own destruction, you'd probably follow a few simple rules, right? You would carry high-interest debt for years on end. You'd invest your hard-earned money based purely on how you feel in the moment, just chasing trends with super high emotion. You would let your lifestyle inflation wildly outpace your actual income. Oh, and you would completely succumb to ideological stubbornness, just outright refusing to hear any opposing facts. Now, notice what just happened there. We didn't talk about how to succeed at all. We just looked at a concept in action. We effectively tricked your brain into a backwards thinking exercise that instantly clarifies exactly what you need to avoid. And here's the thing. This backwards thinking, it isn't a joke, and it definitely isn't just pessimism. It was actually the ultimate superpower of the late billionaire investor Charlie Munger. He famously captured this entire philosophy with his signature dry wit. He said, "All I want to know is where I'm going to die, so I'll never go there." I know, it sounds like a punchline, right? But it was actually his foundational engineering strategy for navigating life and business. For those who might not be super familiar with his monumental legacy, Charlie Munger was Warren Buffett's longtime business partner and the brilliant vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway. We lost him recently in late 2023, just a single month shy of his 100th birthday. But get this, his mind helped engineer an astounding 19.8% average annual stock return for Berkshire from 1965 all the way to 2022. That absolutely crushed the S&P 500's return of 9.9% over that exact same period. That is no accident. Part 1, Munger's latticework of models. To really understand how Munger achieved that level of sustained brilliance, we gotta zoom out for a second. Because to make world-class decisions, he realized you literally cannot just rely on isolated facts, and you certainly can't rely on just one single academic specialty. And this brilliantly illustrates his core framework. Munger warned against being the man with a hammer. You know the old saying, right? To the man with a hammer, everything looks like a nail. If economics or engineering is your only tool, you're going to torture reality to fit that one specific model. Instead, he advocated for building a latticework of theory. He believed that gathering about 80 to 90 mental models from totally diverse disciplines, stuff like psychology, biology, physics, and history, is what yields genuine worldly wisdom. You map them all together so you can finally see the big picture. Part 2, the power of inversion. Now, out of all those 80 or 90 mental models we just talked about, one reigns supreme. And what's really interesting is where this idea actually originated. Inversion was inspired by the 19th century German mathematician Carl Gustav Jakob Jacobi. Jacobi often solved these incredibly difficult math problems by following one simple strategy, man muss immer umkehren, which loosely translates to invert, always invert. Munger realized that a lot of hard problems simply cannot be solved by moving forward. You actually have to address them backward to uncover hidden beliefs and blind spots you didn't even know you had. Let's compare how this looks in our brains. Most of us naturally default to additive thinking. We try to add brilliant strategies, or we try to add interventions. But paradoxically, trying to be brilliant actually increases the odds of causing harm. That's a concept known as iatrogenics. Inversion, on the other hand, is subtractive thinking. It acts as an avoiding stupidity filter. And honestly, it relieves you of the overwhelming pressure to always be brilliant because, quite frankly, filtering out obvious stupidity is just a much easier and way more reliable path to success than actively trying to be a genius every day. Part 3, Ancient Roots and Negative Visualization. You see, this isn't just some quirky trait of a billionaire investor looking at balance sheets. It's actually a timeless human survival strategy, deeply rooted in ancient philosophy. Specifically, an exercise known in Latin as premeditatio malorum. Let's move to and see how this builds across human history. All the way back in the 3rd century BC, Cyrenaic and Stoic philosophers trained themselves by mentally visualizing worst-case scenarios, a practice called negative visualization. Fast forward to the 19th century, and we see Carl Jacobi applying this exact inverse thinking to complex mathematics. Then, boom, in the 20th and 21st centuries, Charlie Munger adapts it into a multidisciplinary tool for worldly wisdom and investing. It's the exact same fundamental framework, reappearing across completely different centuries and totally different contexts to solve vastly different problems. Take a look at this really remarkable quote from the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. In his private meditations, he would literally tell himself early in the morning, "This day I shall have to do with an idle, curious man, with an unthankful man, an envious man." Basically, he was intentionally using negative visualization and his morning routine to mentally prepare for the absolute worst kinds of people he might have to face that day. By rehearsing the negative, he completely protected his own peace of mind.
Part 4, avoiding stupidity in practice.
So the crucial point is, how do we actually bring this philosophy out of ancient Rome and Wall Street and apply it directly to your daily habits right now? Well, here is your masterclass in modern inversion. First, to avoid the sheer stupidity of intense ideology, which Munger famously said cabbages up one's mind, you absolutely must know the other side's argument better than they do. If you can't state the opposing view better than your opponent, well, you aren't really entitled to an opinion. Second, refuse to make decisions based on predicting the future. Munger noted that listening to expert forecasters today is honestly just as crazy as when ancient kings used to hire people to read sheep guts. It is a guaranteed trap. And third, eliminate the physical conditions that actually cause bad choices. Don't ask how to make a great decision, ask what guarantees a bad one. High pressure, severe sleep deprivation. If you simply eliminate those conditions, your decisions are going to improve automatically. Which brings us to a final, really provocative thought to leave you with. Look honestly at your own life right now. Instead of asking how you can achieve your big goals today, turn the whole thing upside down. What are you currently doing to guarantee your own failure? Identify those habits, spot those blind spots, those conditions. If you ruthlessly apply inversion to find those answers and then systematically clear them from your path, you're not going to need to hunt for success. It will simply be what's left over. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I highly encourage you to go invert some of your biggest problems today.